Chapter 4, The Interrogations. Ooh, it's time to interrogate.
The guests are waiting for you, Detective. I informed them of what has happened, but divulged no details.
Thank you. There goes my opportunity to catch one of them off guard, no matter. I have more than one weapon in my armory.
I am most grateful. Madame Vandenbosch is here also?
She's in her room with Miss Angeline. It may be better to speak with them privately tomorrow.
Oui, merci. I shall come find you again once my questioning is complete.
The guest alibis are my priority. Once I can confirm their whereabouts this evening, I can understand who had an opportunity. I have my lead suspects from the evidence at the scene of the crime. Perhaps those will change after speaking with them all. The chance to play piano is very tempting. Let me question these mofos.
Mademoiselle Conrad, I am sure you understand the delicate nature of the situation.
I knew I had seen your face before. You were just an officer when that story hit the paper.
You have a très bon memory, mademoiselle. That was a long time ago.
You can't escape the past, especially when you go and do something like that.
That is very true, but one can learn from it and create a better future.
What would you say to an
Please, mademoiselle. Catching the Major's killer is my sole concern right now. Now, if you would be so kind, I have some questions for you.
Tell me about your evening since your arrival.
I arrived, unpacked my bags in my room, and made it downstairs just in time to see the Major take a right hook from Gideon. And then I went to check out the library.
And you were joined by Monsieur Beckers.
And Ernesto, or Monsieur Silver, as you say. But after he ignored my attempt at pleasantries, I left him to his book in the corner.
And your conversation with Monsieur Beckers that I interrupted.
You are a persistent one, aren't you? Makes sense now I know who you really are. You'll just have to wait and read about it in the paper like everyone else.
Mademoiselle Conrad still remains tight-lipped about her discussion with Monsieur Beckers, but a hint at that reading about it in the newspaper makes me believe it may be of a much grander nature than I expected.
You have been most helpful. I request you do not go too far. Merci. Comtesse, I am sorry our next conversation must be under such formal circumstances.
It is not the first time Felix has ruined a good party.
The current state of tonight's celebrations is the least of my priorities, Comtesse.
Well, it's at the top of mine, detective. I did not come here for a wake.
Perhaps then we should proceed with my questions and you can get back to celebrating.
It would be my pleasure, chérie.
We spoke earlier. Did you remain here in the salon until dinner was served?
I did. I thought by staying in one place, it would be easy for the staff to bring me my drinks. How wrong I was.
And who else was present in here?
The handsome groom-to-be and his brother, although Zachariah, is it, made a rather sharp exit at one stage.
Did he say where he was going?
He barely said two words to either of us. I think he was more concerned with his drink.
Another to notice Monsieur Demir's drinking, and yet no one seems concerned.
Merci, Comtesse. If I have any further questions, I shall be sure to come and find you.
Sakaraya, maybe Sakaraya.
Monsieur Demir, I am sorry your celebrations have taken a rather dark turn.
As am I, Detective. I hope we will be able to bring this investigation to an end post-haste.
With your cooperation, I will do my very best.
Besides your time in the hall, where were you before we summoned to the dining
I
room?
was here in the salon. I thought I would have a moment of peace to calm myself, but the Comtesse and my brother followed behind.
Did they inquire into the reasons behind the fight in the hall?
I think they both saw it as some light entertainment, more than anything else.
The Comtesse does not strike me as one to enjoy violence.
And not so much violence, but karma for the Major, perhaps? You did not hear how he spoke to my wife-to-be. She is still rather upset about the whole thing.
If you would be so kind as to stay here, I may require your help further. Monsieur de Silva,
Ernesto.
merci for obliging me.
A detective comes to a party and a dead body shows up. Coincidental, don't you think?
A man's death is not a matter to joke on, monsieur.
Who said anything about a joke? I am saying what I see.
Then perhaps you can tell me what it was you saw this evening.
Where were you prior to dinner?
Following whatever that was in the hall, I moved to the library.
Is there anyone that can confirm that?
Miss Conrad and Beckers were in there, arguing about something. The books held my interest far more than their conversation.
You did not speak with them until dinner was served?
I had no reason to get involved with their little spat. It was clear they didn't want me to hear, and that suited me just fine.
Merci for your cooperation.
Hugo.
Bonsoir, Monsieur Beckers. Merci for speaking with me.
Monsieur Poirot, or should it be Detective Poirot now?
Detective Poirot is perfect. Merci. I would like to begin with a few questions.
Go right ahead, Detective Poirot.
Can you tell me where you were prior to dinner?
I took great pleasure in seeing the Major's ego as well as his face take a bruising. And then I made my way to the library.
Where you spoke with Mademoiselle Conrad.
And yourself? Yes.
We were the only two that you spoke with.
One of the servants bought me a drink and I was telling her about the benefits of joining a union. She didn't understand what it truly meant to be a part of something. Something bigger than just her. I was trying to explain to her how...
Monsieur.
Oh, yes, it was just the two of you and the servant.
Strange that he does not seem to recall seeing Monsieur de Silva in the library.
And you are sure there was no one else present?
I'm not sure what you're getting at, Detective. You were there.
Merci, Monsieur Beckers. It has been a most...
Sakaraya, here
I'm
you
afraid our
are.
conversation is of a more formal nature this time.
So the Major was murdered?
It appears so.
You can't think that I did it, though.
I
will be
do.
questioning everyone over the course of the evening, and your cooperation will certainly speed up that process.
Besides speaking with me, tell me about your movements before the
I
diner,
was here
or
in
for
the
dinner.
salon, minding my own business, enjoying my own company.
Minding your business from whom?
Comtesse, what's her name, and my brother. Apart from wanting to congratulate him for a great right hook, there was nothing I had to say to him.
Comtesse de Vos. And they will both confirm you were here?
If she had taken a moment to notice anything besides herself, she will tell you I was here the whole time.
I think that is all for now.
Now we gotta find out who it is. Damn, 6? Goddamn. Sakaraya was in the salon. Hugo was in the library, spoke with Jackie and myself. Right here.
Is there
What?
some...
How is it not that one?
Order and method.
It's gotta be this one then. For sure. It has to be.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming to...
Jackie and Hugo confirm each other's appearance in the library. Ernesto was in the library. Arguments between Hugo and Jackie. Okay, right here has to be this one.
I must act on thought and...
What about this one?
Things are beginning to become...
They confirm each other's appearance in the library. Okay, Sakaraya, where are you? Okay. Wait, missing. Gideon was present.
I must take a different approach if I am...
Okay, it has to be this one then.
Another success.
Margox and Gideon confirm each other's appearance in the salon.
Is there something I must act
What?
on thought and fact.
Sakuraya.
I cannot see the logic in this.
That's what's up. Oh no, okay. I thought I did that. Okay. Wait. Okay. I was about to say no way.
Magnifique.
Okay, so that one goes right there. Margox claims Sakuraya stepped out of the room, but Gideon did not mention it. Was his missing time accounted for? Jackie.
This will
Oh,
not get me
man.
any closer to my goal.
Okay, it's this one then.
I must take a different
What?
approach if I am to...
I just saw it light up.
Order and method. That is the way to solve... The pieces of the puzzle are...
They confirm each other's appearance in the salon. One more. Okay, one more. What about Archie? Or Ugo? It was Ugo. Okay, Ugo was in the library. Who can confirm Ugo? Right here.
Come, my little gray cells.
Gotta be this one. Has to
This
be.
will not
No?
get me any...
Alright, it has to be this one.
I must take
What?
a different approach if I am to uncover...
Spoke with Jackie and myself. Ernesto was lurking in the library.
Another success.
Ugo failed to mention seeing Ernesto in the library. Ooh, Ugo. Alright, what's next? Archie.
Is that the end of your...
There are still some questions that remain.
Okay, still gotta ask some more questions. Talk to Ugo and Sakuraya. Let me talk to Sakuraya. Oh no, he's sus to me.
I'm an open book, Poirot.
Is that right? Your version of
I
events.
told you already.
No, you didn't.
I was here.
And
You
you
didn't
did
tell
not
me
leave
everything.
even once.
Right.
Well, I had to use the bathroom.
You didn't say that.
I didn't
on,
realize I
dude.
had to update you every
Yes,
time
sir.
nature called.
You may keep your calls of nature to yourself, merci. And then you returned to the salon.
If you don't believe me, ask Archibald. He saw me on his way up to the study.
I think that is all for now.
Bet. Where's Ugo? Is this Ugo? Yep.
Whatever you require, detective.
Your story of tonight's events.
I know you are probably used to dealing with criminals, but not everyone is trying to hide something.
I hope for your sake that you do not hide anything from me.
What is it you think I'm hiding?
I struggle to believe you did not know of Monsieur da Silva's presence in the library.
Is that what this is about? I saw him hiding in the corner, pretending to read. I'd be surprised if he even could. I did not speak to him, and he certainly didn't make any attempt to speak with me.
Monsieur Demire invited you here to speak with him. You didn't see that as a fitting time too?
I was speaking with Jacqueline, and quite frankly, I was in no mood to be dealing with that man.
Monsieur Beckers is courageous and full of vigor in his planning, but his execution does not share such confidence.
Merci, Monsieur Beckers. It has been a
Alright, let me go talk to Sakuraya. Let me see if... I mean, Archie. Let me see if Sakurai is
Can you
telling the truth.
confirm seeing Monsieur Demir in the hall this evening?
Zachariah, yes.
Okay,
I
okay.
was on my way with a bottle of whiskey to the Major. He shouted a rather ignorable greeting to me and asked for directions to the bathroom.
I presume you showed him the way?
Aye, detective. I showed him to the hall bathroom. I didn't think it was wise to attempt the stairs, not in that state.
Sakurai claims Archie can cover his absence. Hugo saw Ernesto briefly. Hugo was in the library.
Come, my little grey cells. Magnifique.
Hugo and Ernesto now confirm each other's appearance in the library.
Things are beginning to become clearer.
Hugo, Ernesto, and Jackie support each other's version of events. Someone else must be responsible, surely. Hugo, Ernesto. Okay.
Order and method. That
I don't know, I'm just guessing.
is there something.
Just tell me the answer.
I cannot
Bro.
see the logic in it.
It's right here. Sakurai absence covered by Archie. Sakurai was briefly missing.
I should not be surprised by my own.
Archie confirms Sakurai's movements out of the salon, however brief.
What a revelation!
Gideon, Sakurai, and Margox were all in the salon, at least for some time altogether. Surely someone else is to blame. Even with some minutes differences in stories, the guests all confirm each other's alibis. It is not the outcome I was expecting or perhaps hoping for. Complete. Come, my little gray cells, let's solve this mystery. That did not yield the results I desired. Perhaps a more direct approach, considering their potential motives, will reveal more. Continue your interrogation and determine likely motives. Alright, let me go interrogate them some more.
You came to the right place. What do you need?
Answers, bitch. What did you know of the victim?
I know that he was not the good and honest man he liked to think he was.
In what sense?
If you spoke to him for longer than 5 minutes, you'd know. I've met people in dark alleys I trust before him.
And on the occasions when you did speak with him, what was discussed?
So he wasn't a good person.
I'm sorry, Poirot. If you're looking for a deep-seated secret
Poirot.
between me and him, you're going to be disappointed.
Mademoiselle Comrade is wise to the nature of this question. She knows exactly what and what not to say. This nut may be hard to crack than first expected. As you were previously speaking with him, I assume you know Monsieur Beckers as well then.
That man has got some real anger issues. I get why he's frustrated. He's trying his best for the workers, but holding on to rage like that, something's gonna burst.
A man suppressing his anger and a murdered body. The most amateur detective could see the connection.
You have been most helpful. I request.
I am all yours, detective.
Did you ever speak to Major about how he treated Madame Van Den Busch?
Why would I actively choose to speak to that wretched man?
You were quite adamant of your protection of Madame. If he was as awful as you portrayed him to be, there must have been some words spoken, or perhaps written?
He was quite aware of how I felt towards him, and the lengths he has gone to remain close to the family. That is all that needs to be said.
I must admit, I would not want to be on the receiving end of your tongue's wrath, Countess.
Wise thinking, detective.
I'm sure you have noticed Madame Van Den Busch's absence.
I imagine she will have shed a tear for him. but she should not waste any more.
You don't think she would? Or you don't want her to?
I have made it quite clear what I think of that man, alive or dead. I would not want her to waste anything further on him.
I don't know who has the sharper tongue, Madame Van den Bosch or the Comtesse. It is certainly a close race for first place. You have explained that the Major was trying to remain close to the family, but why not?
He was a
Or,
disgusting
well,
leech
not
that
why.
was driven only by money and power, like most men.
I can assure you not all men are concerned with such egotistical wealth.
That may be, but they are few and far between. I believe you are a special case, Detective Poirot.
It is not the first time I have been described in such a way.
Embrace the compliment, Detective. You have set yourself apart from the horrid crétins that seem to somehow make their way into positions of authority and power.
And that is what the Major was doing? Using Madame Van den Bosch as his ladder to the top?
You are finally seeing the man he was. A weak and self-indulgent social climber.
The Comtesse has certainly opened my eyes to the Major's true ambitions with the Van den Bosch family. I wonder if Madame herself is aware of his greed and hunger for social recognition.
Merci, Comtesse. If I have any
So he was
further
a clout
questions,
chaser.
I shall be sure to come and find you.
Back in the days, that would have been called the clout. Clout chaser.
No trouble at all. How can I help?
With the joining of your two families and the Major being around so much, I assume you knew him well.
I knew of him more than actually knowing him myself. In the past, he made his feelings towards my brother and I quite clear.
And that was not in a positive way.
I certainly wouldn't call trying to get Angeline to postpone the engagement positive.
I spoke with your brother earlier. He was certainly enjoying
What do you
himself.
mean?
I do not mean to pry, only I imagine the whole room was aware of his celebrating with a bottle.
You must be mistaken. Neither my brother nor I drink.
I do not know how he could not have noticed the state his brother was in. Perhaps one does not see what one does not want to believe, right? How is your relationship with your brother?
We aren't the closest. But what?
I would
Oops.
argue that many are.
We've lived very different lives. Our priorities are different. He does not see things the way I do. There isn't much more to say.
There is clearly more to uncover here. I shall return to the matter when I have the fuel that is required to get the answers. I'd like to ask you about your work with the union.
I have lent my voice to some discussions. I have tried to facilitate meetings. Just positive support.
Does that positive support include sending letters to those on the opposing side?
Detective Poirot, I'm not sure what you think I have done.
Monsieur, a letter has been found threatening the Major of what might happen if he does not act promptly, and now he has wound up dead.
You think my sending him a letter, warning him not to get involved, means I murdered him?
At this time, it is certainly reason for me to be suspicious.
I have been funding the strikes, Detective. These men deserve fair treatment, and a wage that fits the hard work they undertake every single day. The Major didn't see that. All he cared about was the money for his services, and that is all I care to discuss.
It appears Monsieur's letter was at least written with noble intentions, but he is still hesitant to talk more on the Major's
If you would
association.
be so kind as to stay here, I may require your help further.
He's lying.
More questions? I suppose so.
Can you tell me more about the relationship with the deceased?
Felix, I didn't know him that well. We spoke a handful of times. I met him through Cassandra. I thought him to be rather pompous.
But you remained polite, as any gentleman would.
Of course.
The negative opinion of the Major is rather bequicious. I don't know how to say that. I am yet to meet someone with a particularly positive view of him. Why don't you tell me more about your relationship with Madame Van den Bosch?
What is there to say? She's a remarkable woman, and I admire her. Even after Edwin's death, she held herself with such poise.
It sounds as though you hold her in the highest regard.
And why shouldn't I? Women these days could take a leaf out of her book on how to present themselves.
You said you had talked with the majors a few times. About what exactly?
He had approached me about doing some business together. I like to know who I'm getting into bed with first.
Hey, yo.
And you
Pause.
both went ahead with your business venture.
Pause.
Not so much a business venture, more security related. But there is no need to discuss that any further.
Why not?
Is
You
there
holding
something you
back?
wish to remain hidden about your
Right.
partnership, monsieur?
Right. Exactly.
It was far from a partnership.
Speak
I
up.
hired him
Let
to
it
run
out.
security at my factories. If the workers were going to get violent, I wanted to make sure I was ready to protect my property.
Both of you and the major have been very supportive of Madame Van den Bosch over the years. N'est-ce pas?
That is correct.
And the reason for your support was always of a purely platonic nature.
If you're trying to insinuate that I was expecting something in return, you can remove your head from the gutter.
I meant no offense. I'm only trying to understand the dynamic of your relationship.
I may need to approach this in a different manner. Perhaps I should speak with the Comtesse
Merci
on this.
for your cooperation.
Whatever you require, detective.
How do you know the victim?
I know that I don't think, or didn't think, a great deal of him. I'm just sorry I didn't get the chance to tell him what I thought.
The
What you
man
think?
has recently been murdered.
Someone must stand up to men like him, with their crooked dealings and lack of, well, any compassion at all.
Another rousing speech, monsieur.
It's the truth. If you knew what I know, maybe he wouldn't be dead, but behind bars instead.
Your connection to the family is through Monsieur Demir. N'est-ce pas?
Yes, Gideon invited me. If you will recall from our previous conversation, we have been working together and he thought now would be a good time to discuss matters.
To discuss business at the celebration of his engagement.
We're all here, so what better time? He thought Da Silva might even let his guard down if he was in a more jubilant mood. It would be wise to not continue to ignore us any longer.
And what business was it that was so urgent?
We're trying to resolve the worker strikes. It has gone on long enough. Now is the time for him to listen to our demands so we can put an end to it all. Put the violence and upset behind us.
You seem to hold a certain level of, shall we say, anger towards the major.
Anger, yes, but that's all. I wouldn't kill a man.
I don't know. Anger could do a lot.
You must see why this leads me to have suspicions.
Mm-hmm. You on a
can't
thin
honestly
line,
think I
buddy.
did it. I am a man of peace. I make changes with words, not with violence.
No, I barely mentioned the major, and Monsieur Beckers became rather flustered and defensive. So are there plans for a negotiation with Monsieur de Silva?
I am fighting for the basic rights of our workers, nothing more. If he can't see that, he is a lesser man than I already thought.
And where does Monsieur Gédéon fit into the negotiations? And his brother?
His brother? I didn't even know he had a brother until I arrived here. Gideon certainly hasn't talked much about him. I get the sense there's not much love lost between them.
When was the last time you saw the major?
Last I saw, he was outside having a cigar.
Oui, I spoke with him myself, but that was some time ago.
He does love a cigar. You'd have to stand out in those conditions. I could barely see him through the snow.
Merci, Monsieur Beckers. It has...
Sakaraya.
I'm an open book, Poirot.
Did you speak with the major this evening?
Why would I? I've got nothing to say to him, except maybe to keep his hands off what is ours.
What is yours that he could want?
Money, of course. Why do you think he has been suckling at the Van den Bosch teat for so long? He's bled them dry, and now they will all do the same to our money.
Our?
My father's, Gideon's, it's all the same.
I don't know. I got a feeling it was him. I get the sense you and Monsieur Gideon are not the closest.
When you have not been on level playing fields for years, it's hard to have a fair game.
I am afraid I do not quite understand.
If we're playing golf, he has a full set of clubs and a caddy in the form of my father, and I have the old split putter.
Perfectly.
Makes sense now? There's certainly some hostility towards his brother. This runs much deeper than brotherly rivalry. Your relationship with your brother, it seems everyone has an opinion.
That doesn't surprise me, and yet no one actually asks.
I am asking now.
I should have expected that, shouldn't I? What is there to say? We used to be close, but not so much anymore.
I would find it very helpful if you could at least elaborate on your relationship.
He went to school, got an education, and was the apple of our father's eye. I went to war. See?
Oops. See the difference now? Monsieur has again mentioned his time in the war. While I do not mean to belittle his efforts for his country, it seems as though he has not been able to leave that life behind on the battlefield. What do you know of your brother's work with the Union?
If you want to know about Gideon's part in the Union, why don't you ask him?
Because I'm asking you. The hell?
So, you are aware of his support for them?
Yes, well,
Oui, monsieur?
it'd be best to just ask him.
Monsieur either does not know much of what his brother does, or he is projecting or protecting him rather
I
coyly.
think that is all for now. Merci.
Okay. Okay, 2. Okay, I'm gonna have to guess because there's too many question marks to it. Oh no.
I cannot see the logic. Order and method.
Okay, what is it? Okay, those 2, and then those 2. Okay. Zachariah resents Gideon. Zachariah is defensive of Gideon.
Some would say a lucky guess.
He claims not to be close to his brother, but still seeks to withhold information about him, right? Ugo claims to have calmed down. Ugo's frustration.
Another success.
Ugo claims to have calmed down since his argument with the Major, but Jackie disputes this. Talk to Margot, talk to Jackie, talk to Gideon.
You came to the right place. What do you need?
You seem to know a great deal about everyone. What can you tell me about Monsieur de Silva and Madame Van den Bosch?
If you think you can use me as some sort of gossip machine, you are sorely mistaken.
I can assure you it is not a case of gossiping. At this point, everything may be relevant to my investigation.
So I would be helping you potentially solve a crime? You should have said that off the bat. To say he's smitten is an understatement. I reckon he's been wanting her for years.
I see. Madame does not feel the same?
Doesn't look like it. If she did, she would have said something about it, right?
What are your thoughts on Comtesse? I'd appreciate your opinion
I
on
don't know
her.
if you really would. She's got a mouth the size of Texas, except when it comes to truths about her.
The
She
size
wants
of
everyone
Texas
to
is
think that
crazy.
she's the savior of these girls at the shelter. But there's a side to her I don't think anyone gets to see.
And what side is that?
One that she is keeping tucked away under her very expensive dress.
Hey, what does that mean? I can only see the work at a women's shelter as positive. Even if the reason to start came from a selfish place, the work they do cannot be scoffed at this or at.
You have been most helpful. I request you do not go too far. Merci.
I am all yours, detective.
Push on the Major's aggression towards Cassandra.
Comtesse, you gave me the impression the Major and the Madame were close. But there were times where he acted rather aggressively to her, n'est-ce pas?
I am sorry, detective, but I did not mean to give you such an impression.
I've already built a rapport with the Countess. Some may even say in a flirtatious manner. Perhaps if I continue to charm her, she will reveal the information I require. Flattering. It is obviously I who I am mistaken. A fine woman of your stature would not purposely lead a young man astray. Humble. If I have been mistaken, would you be so kind to correct me in my train of thought? Let's do
I am
humble.
sorry, Detective. Your misinterpretation of me is your cross to bear.
The Countess has something more to say, but she still holds back. Something tells me it is more to do with receiving attention. Perhaps I can use that to my advantage. How would Madame Van Den Busch feel if she heard the contents of our conversation from me? You obviously care a great deal about Madame Van Den Busch. Assisting me will help clear her of any wrongdoing. That is what you want for her, isn't it? Oh, wrong one. Fuck. Gotta do it again.
Of course.
Damn it.
Countess, you...
I am sorry, Detective.
Yeah, put humble.
I
I
am
think I put
sorry,
humble.
Detective.
Which one did I put? I don't even know which one I put. I think cautionary, so I'm gonna do this one.
It is not
Yeah.
often I am swayed so easily. I applaud you on your willingness and persistence. I think it is time we moved on
What?
from talk of the Major. Even after death, he finds a way to irritate me.
Of course.
What of it?
Do you believe there was something more to their friendship?
As I have said, Detective, I am not one to gossip.
I would not even consider your name and that word in the same sentence.
Because it is not gossip when it's the truth.
The tooth. I'm not sure that is exactly correct, but the Countess has made a bold attempt to justify her wagging tongue.
Why else do you think he would stay around for so long? Yes, he was a friend and partner to the Viscount, but it is plain to see it is Cassandra's partnership he longs for.
Countess, you gave me the impression the Major and the Madame were...
I am sorry, Detective.
Let me skip that. How? Okay.
Ever the charmer, Detective. It would not be wise. I think it is time we moved on.
Of course.
Damn it.
Countess,
I am sorry.
So it's that one, and then, oh, and then this one.
It is not often from day one I was... If it is a tear she shed...
I understand your feelings towards the Major, but perhaps there was...
He was a bully. He took his shortcomings out on her, and she sat there and accepted it. I never thought I would see the day. Perhaps now she will be able to see the man he truly was.
Truly
Karma
was.
will always catch up to you.
Karma. She said karma.
Merci, Countess.
That's funny as hell.
No trouble at all. How can I help?
I'd like to talk more about your
I believe
brother.
there are more important matters at hand.
Nah.
Talking about my brother and I's relationship.
Nah, let's talk about you and your
Murderer
brother.
is in his house, and by holding back information that may help my investigation, you only make me suspicious of your involvement.
Right,
Monsieur
exactly.
Demire, if you continue to withhold information, I can only assume you are hiding something, and must treat you as a prime suspect in the Major's murder.
I have nothing to hide. If you must know, we have not been on the best terms for years now. As I said, we are different people. He does not see the importance of planning for the future. And as much as my parents tried, they could not make him see that. I suppose that is why he sees me as their favorite.
He still believes that now?
I assume so. We barely talk anymore. I was hoping we would be able to sit down and talk and leave the past behind. But this evening has not panned out that way.
If you would be so kind as to stay here, I may require your help further.
Here we got two. Ernesto and Cassandra's friendship. Maybe it's this one.
What a
Yes,
revelation!
sir. Perhaps Ernesto has or had hidden his secret love well. We can use this to our advantage. The major abusive is abusive confirmed.
Come, my little grey cells.
Let me just guess. Leased on to Cassandra.
I must take a different approach. This will not get me any.
Okay, what's the answer? Oh, over here. Gideon feels detached from Sakaraya. Sakaraya resents Gideon. They hate each other. The brothers are suspicious individually, but I cannot see them working together. Talk to Ernesto.
More questions? I suppose so.
Apologies for the insistent questions on the subject, but you and Madame Van Den Bosch.
Mademoiselle Conrad was quick to talk of your hidden feelings towards her. Perhaps only hidden to Madame Van Den Bosch herself.
What has this got to do with the Major's death? Does Cassandra know you have spoken to others about this? I have only tried to help her.
I am merely asking the questions. There is no reason to panic. It would greatly help me if you would answer honestly.
There may be some feelings there, but Madame Van Den Bosch does not know of them, and I trust that it will remain that way.
Merci for your cooperation.
I had my own opinion on the Major, one of the wiser kept to myself. But I did not expect so many like-minded thinkers. I should think further on what I have heard in my quarters.
My time with the
Archie.
guests is complete. For tonight, at least.
Do you know who killed Major Hagen?
Not yet, Archie.
I am afraid it is not as simple as that. There are many steps that lead to the truth. I must think on everything I have heard this evening and dissect the truths from the lies. Merci for your assistance this evening. Au revoir.
Alright. I came here expecting to solve a case of blackmail, to relieve a family of a burden that was weighed upon them and overshadowed a joyous celebration. At the end of this chapter, I've never been to an engagement celebration where a death has taken center stage before. Although the guest alibi confirms each other's, I still cannot rule out the possibility of one of them being involved in the Major's death. The relationship between some of the guests and the Major were more than rocky. Dislike towards him was plentiful, but enough to drive someone to murder? This is now the perfect opportunity to think about everything I have heard today. I have all the information I needed. I must now compile it all together and find the most probable culprits. Start off with Hugo. Hugo has dirt on the Major. So, where's the Major? Threats to the Major. Ernesto cares for Cassandra.
I must act on thought and...
Jackie wants information from Hugo. It's hiding something. Advice to the major. I'm gonna guess. I don't know.
Some would
Oh, what
say
the
a
fuck?
lucky guess.
Huh.
I
I was a lucky guess. Blinded by both love and greed, he may have struck down his position. All right, can I get another lucky guess? Conflicting attitudes. I gotta expose distant from.
Is there something? Come, my little Grace. Order
I'm
and
gonna
method.
guess. Okay, so those two, those two, those two, and those two. Okay, so they're right across from each other. All right.
I should not be surprised.
All the guests have at least one other guest to confirm their alibi.
Things are beginning to.
His history with the major combined with threats to his well-being definitely shows intent.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally.
When I first overheard their conversation, it seemed Ugo was trying to get Jackie to listen.
Magnifique.
The letter she sent protecting Cassandra was threatening indeed, and Jackie seems unable to determine her secret. Uh-oh, somebody knocking my door. Who could that be at this
Entrez.
time? Entres.
Detective,
Ooh,
I'm
she's
sorry I
trying
could
to
not join you when the
fuck.
salon has requested.
What's up, baby?
Please, mademoiselle. There is no need to apologize.
I was with Maman in her room. She would not allow anyone to see it, but I could see she was terribly upset.
Most understandable.
Do you have any suspicions as to who could have killed him?
Nah, yeah, baby
I'm
girl.
afraid my suspicions extended across all of the party's guests. While it seems as though their alibis all corroborate one another's, the disdain and hostility towards the Major makes them rife with motive.
I know there was some bad blood between the Major and some of the guests, but not enough to kill him, surely. She may seem tough on the exterior, but she's really quite kind when you get to know her.
The Countess? She is a formidable force I would not want to come up against.
Don't be silly, Detective. She wouldn't hurt a soul. Jacqueline, I mean.
Mademoiselle Conrad, she was in fact the least suspicious until
I
now.
assume that's who you were talking about, Detective, after what happened between them.
That is a story I have yet to hear.
She must have told you about the piece she was writing on us, about Gideon's work and our marriage.
Somehow, that was the only thing she did not mention.
That's
Mm.
strange. I thought that is what she would have started the conversation with. Well, she had come to the house to interview me, and when I entered the library, she was there with Felix amid a rather heated conversation.
Do you know what this conversation regarded?
I'm afraid not, but Felix was quite enraged. He picked up an envelope from the table and stormed out, slamming the door behind him.
And Mademoiselle Conrad?
She was equally heated in the moment. She had a few choice words for him that I wouldn't care to repeat.
How is Madame's feeling now?
Better, thank you, Detective. She's resting in her room. It is the best place for her.
And you, Mademoiselle?
I'm not quite sure. It is a rather surreal feeling. I did not think I would miss him like I do.
It is understandable. He has been a close friend to your maman for many years.
And to me, Detective. We had grown close. After Father's passing, he was always there for me. And now, he's gone as well.
You must try and not think on it like that.
It is easier said than done, Detective.
I have no doubt, but you can be assured the culprit will not remain at large for long. You have my word.
If you were in my position, Mademoiselle, who would be at the top of your suspect
I'm
list?
sorry, but I just can't imagine any of them committing such a heinous crime.
It can often be hard to look past one's personal feelings for someone and see their flaws.
It's not that, Detective. It's just they have known each other for years. Why would any of them act now?
I was under the impression the Major had merely a business relationship with some of the guests.
That's true. But those invited know each other, some of them for years. They may not seem like it, but some are even friends. I should return to my room now, Detective. It has been a trying day for us all.
Why don't you just stay with me, baby girl?
Oui, mademoiselle.
Yeah, wait.
I am afraid tomorrow may bear a resemblance, but I will not stop until I have found his killer.
I am certainly glad you are here, Detective.
When and where a detective is required, that is where I shall be. Bonne nuit, mademoiselle.
Bonne nuit. Mademoiselle has left me with an interesting thought. I'm horny. No. One I had not considered until now. Well, at first glance, the guests do not appear to show much fondness for each other. Mademoiselle is quite sure that is not the case. Perhaps I might consider looking at the guests together and not individually. Jackie bumped heads with Major. Guests have known each other for years.
This will not get me any closer to... I must act on... Is there something...
Jackie pushed for dirt on the Major. Jackie bumped heads with the Major.
I should not be surprised by my own...
I doubted Jackie's involvement with the murder, but now I am dubious of her innocence.
What a revelation!
Might have been a girl. I now have all the motives from the guests. Who is under suspicion? Jackie seems suspicious for sure.
I must take a different approach if I cannot see the logic in this. I must take a different...
All motives confirmed, all alibis confirmed.
Some would say a lucky guess.
I do not know who I can trust or whose story I can believe. Are the guests innocent? All guests are suspicious. For sure, all of them are suspicious.
I cannot see the logic in this.
All guests have known each other.
The pieces of the puzzle off.
I now doubt how trustworthy their stories may be. They may well be covering for each other. Ooh. There is no physical way one of the guests could have killed the Major and returned to the party, unless that is where I am mistaken. It is not one guilty party I should be looking for, rather multiple. Sounds about right. How could I not have considered that the Major's death was part of the ploy created to execute and executed by more than only one guest? It came almost as an epiphany following Mademoiselle Angeline's remark about the guest's shared past. Perhaps Mademoiselle will become the trusted ally that I now sense may be essential to catching the guilty parties. Tonight's questioning was only the beginning. I will allow my suspects to sleep on their stories, and we'll see how they fare tomorrow. Ooh, they might forget. Perhaps one of those involved will have morals enough to show a glimmer of regret. Considering they may be working together, I cannot be sure who has told the truth and who has attempted to sell me down the fleuve. Perhaps I should sleep on the matter. A good night's sleep will surely bring a new dawn of thinking, for sure. And what a better setting to do so than to the peaceful falling blanket of snow that surrounds us all. Although it seems not everyone has the same idea. Who the hell's that? That's him. That's the murderer. Chapter 5. Oh, snap.